Good to have you here today. Thank you for joining us for Partnership in Practice. My name is Dr. Jessica Rowland Williams. I am Senior Director of Client Service Delivery here at the National Institute for Student Success. Would you please introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Dr. Korey. I am Associate Provost for Student Success at the College of Charleston. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So several months ago, me and my team had the opportunity to travel to your college, to your campus, College of Charleston, and we had a chance to meet with a lot of student leaders on your student leaders on your campus, institutional leaders on your campus. We had a chance to sit through orientation sessions and really get a sense of what you all were doing in your orientation. Can you talk to me a little bit about how this engagement with the NISS has challenged the way you are thinking about doing things at College of Charleston?
Sure. So our initial engagement was thinking about how we can use the meta major model as well as changes in how we do advising to improve our retention, our student success, all the metrics we're hoping to improve on campus. So the interactions that happened through orientation, the pre-survey that went out in terms of our campus leadership and thinking about what we do and how we align our messaging around a variety of advising and student success initiatives was super helpful in terms of helping us shape the work that's going to happen this fall. Well, it's happening this fall and into the spring and into next summer. And that initial summer engagement led to us building out an initial meta major structure, adding more advisors to our advising office, and beginning to think about how we're restructuring our academic advising between professional advisors in several different offices and faculty advisors in the departments. It's sort of a 2-year process probably, but certainly this fall has been focused on advising in meta majors.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you all are leaning into meta majors, especially since one of the hallmarks of your campus is really allowing students to explore and to choose and to, kind of find themselves, especially in that first year. Can you talk about how you're striking that balance between maintaining that part of your identity as a university, but also creating a little bit more structure through meta majors and degree maps, and also whether or not there's any tensions that you're finding as you do that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks for that question. So, right, we are leveraging the meta majors to provide a little more structure on the front end. Our current policy is a student can be undeclared through 60 hours, which is halfway through their college career here. And we are thinking about moving that declaration requirement earlier, but also providing more wraparound support and helping students make an informed decision. There is some tension on campus, so we are thinking about broad meta major categories to align with certain introductory courses that allow students to keep a particular focus of interest, but may be able to move between majors. So we're trying to embrace the idea of a guided pathway in particular areas on campus. We've done some analysis about double majors and probably minors to get a sense of how students are, as you talked about, leveraging our desire to have students have more than one major or minors in different areas. And so our hope on the front end is to give students much more guidance about their initial choice in terms of a major, but also then through our degree roadmaps, provide some key advising questions such as what minor pairs well with this, or what humanities courses in the general education curriculum will fit well with this, this particular major I'm interested in, so that we're both allowing students to get started earlier on the path to graduation, but also allowing them to see how faculty on campus think about exploring other options in other majors, either through the general education curriculum, through a minor, some like the double major, but it sort of helped us frame the meta major here on campus.
And I love that one of the things you said in that is that you're really helping students to make data-informed decisions, right? Like leveraging data to decide, and also from what I understand, you're also leveraging data for yourself to make data-informed decisions about how you make some of these changes. Can you talk a little bit about how you changed how you engage data since working with the NISS?
Yeah, so working with the NISS was an eye-opening event in terms of how we think about data on campus and who accesses data and how much data we're sharing with offices across campus to help us think about improving student success. So even little things such as during the last orientation sessions after the team came, we did a better job of really providing much more detailed information about our incoming students for the second half of the summer, so that intentional changes could be made to what courses were being offered based on incoming student data. We had a project already underway in terms of creating a centralized advising system, a CRM system, and the interactions with our team certainly has helped us think about who else to bring into that system, so it's a little more broad on campus, but also what kind of data we're able to pull into that to enhance decisions. And I think moving forward, as we build out an academic advising council and become a little more streamlined in how all our professional advisors work, that system will be super valuable. And updates to the data that we've been collecting after our interaction with the team have been leading in terms of those design changes.
Yeah. Now, at the start of this conversation, you talked about redesigning advising and rethinking how you're advising students. Can you talk a little bit about what changes you're beginning to make there?
Yep. So we traditionally, our advising system was, we have a central advising program for incoming first-year students. And in their first year, those students are assigned a professional advisor. They have 2 required advising appointments. And as soon as they declare a major, they get moved to a department, and the department faculty take over. And that advising can look very different depending on the departments. And transfers coming into the campus did not have required advising for the most part. They would have advising right at orientation, and then that advising was not as structured. So we are moving over the next 2 years. We hired more advisors, and our goal is to have the first 2 years of a student's presence on campus be done by the professional advisors. Mm-hmm. And then we're moving to a model in that 3rd and 4th year where they will move into the departments with sort of a parallel professional advising system that continues with them to help them with some of the key basic advising questions, with a parallel structure where either a faculty member in the department or many faculty in the department are providing more mentoring in terms of internships and research, what upper level classes would be appropriate based on their desires in career or graduate school, so that we're better defining what our professional advising staff are doing and what faculty are doing, both so that both sides are understand their roles, but also we can communicate that better to students, so students know who they should be talking to about what particular issue they're having.
Yeah, right. Talk a little bit about the change management there, right? Because, you know, when you're changing a system, like one you just alluded to, that's been in place for a long time, and, you know, you've got a lot of people bought into that system and the way that things have been working for a long time. How do you change that? How do you bring about change there? What's been hard for you? What have you learned from working with the NISS over the last few months?
Yeah, so I would say that's probably changed the biggest factor in updating this. I think our initial rollout plans that we worked out with the NISS team were super aggressive, and we were happy to sort of take that on. I think now that we're in the sort of working on it, we've prioritized things sort of over a 2-year window of what do we need to happen first. So we have sort of prioritized the build out of the meta majors, a better understanding of how we can create sort of guided pathways. And we've hired new advisors, so that we've increased the number of professional advisors, so that when we think about next academic year, those students will be coming in already in the meta majors. And that will begin sort of the conversation of how do we, now that those students are in here, transition to a model where those students have 2 years of professional advising rather than just the 1. And that also gives us some time to talk with faculty about changing roles and think about how some schools it's easier for them to change, while others will be a significant change in terms of the amount of faculty roles. So it's always difficult, but I think we sort of prioritize what we, not necessarily the easiest things first, but the ones we feel like we can be most successful with in the near term, and can sort of set the stage for more changes as that occurs.
Yeah, no, that's a great tactic. And can you talk a little bit about any of the other things that you've done to ensure campus buy-in? I know you all had kind of a big meeting to kick off a lot of these changes. What are some of the other things that you've done to kind of keep the campus in the loop around what's happening and what changes you're making?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in the lead up to our engagement with the NISS, the provost and I went around to every school twice to sort of talk through how this was gonna happen on campus. In this academic year, we have been much more engaged with the deans initially, and now moving into the chairs as we build out degree roadmaps. So we're redoing the roadmaps, and we've used this as another opportunity to remind the campus of the changes that we're working through. And that started with the NIST suggestion of building on academic advising council, professional advisors, and a few key faculty advisors to help us build out the initial template for these degree maps. And then we're working with department chairs at the department level to get their feedback and then have them fill those out so that it's just another opportunity to talk about the goals we have with this project and how it'll inform the other things that we're doing. So we're sort of using the degree roadmaps and then the meta major decision as a way to stay engaged with the key leaders in the departments and schools.
Great.